in that. And if we, kind of move down the line, the next thing that I have really taken a liking to is, I'm going to just call it the toe lift. I don't know if you called it a toe lift. Your back is up against the wall. You've got your legs extended out straight, and then you're just lifting your toes because
Let's search for that one. Try searching tibialis raise. We'll see. I don't know where my YouTube search.
Good luck trying to spell let's try tibialis, Titas.
I do want to say one more thing about the Nordic. Last thing I'm going to say, because the top one there. If you click on that, people can start watching what you're talking about while I give my little closing. If we're in a court of law and I'm trying to just justify the case for the Nordic. Yeah. So, because some people will say, like, oh, if it's that simple as doing the Nordic, like, why isn't it more common or whatever? Jonathan Edwards' world fucking record still stands from the 1990s. That's fucking why, because we're fucking up. That's why.
Yes.
It still stands. He finished in the 20s at the Olympics. Then 4 years later, manages to make another Olympics, finishes in the 20s. 4 years later, finishes like second or fourth or something. And then 4 years later, in his fourth Olympic cycle. Right. In your fourth Olympic cycle, you're supposed to be going on down the sidelines crippled. You're not supposed to even be competing, let alone winning a gold medal.
Right.
So, I mean, that's why it's a hidden gem, and the world takes certain forms. Like I said, walk into your local gym and they will have a leg curl machine, but they won't have a Nordic bench, even though it's simpler, way simpler to design and make and use and much cheaper. So it's certain things in the world we've missed out on.
Totally.
Anyways, that was my closing speech.
Totally. I love it though.
Break his world fucking record and then we'll talk.
Yeah. There's nothing else that you can literally say. It is a results-based thing. It's based on competence. If that's what's missing, you really did it the right way. I mean, I love that your search led you to that. It was like, let me just look at who's doing stuff that's incredible and then figure out the common denominator between them and then put that together. That's it. That's essentially how I've been describing you, with all the stuff that you've done. So yeah, maybe you want to talk about the tib raise and
there's no long-term studies. There's no long-term studies on the Nordic, and even the short-term studies, some of them conclude like, well, we don't know if it makes you run faster, but it makes you twice as less likely to injure your hamstring. Number one, if you're twice as less likely to injure your hamstring, you're going to be able to put more intention. You don't get fast in 8 weeks. You get fast in 8 years. Right. You know what I mean? Wow. It's just an obvious tool in the box. Anyways, so yeah, the tibialis, I think, is huge if you want to run faster, because the faster you run, the harder you're going to have to stop. Mm-hmm. And now if you have shin splints or knee pain from the stopping, you're going to restrict yourself. So I think there's something there that the better your decelerators, which no one is training, and by no one, I mean 99.999% of athletes are not training their tibialis muscles, again, with the same reps that they do crunches and sit-ups and push-ups and pull-ups. Like, obviously we want to be strong. That's a soccer muscle right there. Like, big time soccer muscle is that tibialis raise. So, and that's so simple. You literally just need a wall, and it doesn't look like much. I dare you to do 25 reps.
It's hard. Yeah, for sure. That was hilarious to see, is that you just look like you're just raising your toes up, and you start to say, okay, I've not been, and you say 99.9, it's 100%, Ben. I'm sorry. I've played all over the world, in many different countries, had some of the top, if not the top, guys that you're going to see training this guy and that guy and these big clubs. No one's ever mentioned any of this at all, ever. So it's not.
And the players are suffering, and the players are suffering from foot and shin and knee. It's not like I'm not trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist. So many of us are in pain,
right.
For that one. And when we hang up today, you got to send me your shipping address, because any gadgets I talk about,
sure.
That I have access to, I'm going to send to you. So
Love
now
it.
search first line of defense against knee pain should bring up. That's the bodyweight version of tibialis, which is how I built my foundation. But a buddy of mine in Australia was like, look, what piece of equipment needs to exist that doesn't? And I was like, well, they used to make something decades. Yeah, the top video there. They used to make something decades ago. This bar right here was out of existence, not being produced anywhere.
Okay.
my buddy brought it back. He now has like an Olympic collar, so you can just like bring it with you to the gym and like use Olympic plates. And so that's my curl right there.
Got you.
So I know I can play so hard when I play basketball, because while other people are doing curls, I'm doing curls for the muscle below my knee, for the shin right there. I can decelerate so hard because that's what I'm asking for. I'm asking for world-class deceleration. And it doesn't put a bunch of weight on your leg. If you gained any weight in your leg from that, we're talking like an ounce. It's not just going to balloon up in size.
Right.
My point being that for speed, I feel like this is one of the things that really unlocks the speed, because you're going to trust your speed. It's going to help you get your foot off the ground quicker, and it's not going to weigh you down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, anyways, you've been trying the body weight version. I'm going to send you. Okay. I'm going to send you this bar when we hang up today.
Absolutely would love this. Beyond. Can't even tell you, because
I'm sending it right away.
I also picked out some of the information that you said and stated, which was about ankle mobility, which is also another thing that it gets a little talk about. But obvious, if your ankles are weak, you're possibly sending some pain up to your knees and maybe your hips. And obviously, this is your first defense against. As you state, when you hit the ground and when you're hitting that, it's boom, it's got to go through your ankle and then it's going to get transferred up your body. So I did see this, but what I've been using, it was kind of weird for me to try and figure out. I had an elastic band. And so I just kind of needed to hook it under a table in order to get that sort of same motion, to get some resistance, because after doing the toe raises for a while, I started to see you doing them on an incline. Or is that, you
can try them single-legged as well. Single-legged.
Oh, I've not tried that.
Tough.
I've not tried that.
Same exact form.
Okay.
Single-legged. That's what I do now when I do them body weight. Nice. I do them single-legged.
So I just kind of went with that, and then I'm just thinking in my head, like, where in God's name am I going to find something like this? Yeah. So I would love that.
I don't have a video of single-legged public on there because people would just ruin the form.
Sure.
It really hits hard with 2 legs for 25 reps.
Totally.
You were using a band.
So
when you use a band, you can get a really good pump, and that's really good. But it's kind of like this. Let's say you didn't have access to the gym. A power lifter might grab a band and work the pecs, but you ain't really gonna drive up your bench press unless you bench a fucking bar and you know how much weight is on the bar. So that's why I like the tibialis bar, because I know how much weight is on there. It's just different when it's the same ego driven. Mm-hmm. I know how much weight is on the bar. So for male athletes, 20% of body weight. So let's say you weigh 80 kilos, 16 kilos. Can you do that for 20 strict reps? Most people cannot do that. Most people can do that when they actually train it consistently, and then they're able to just play the sport harder. So you see the difference. So it's not that the band is bad. Use the band, use the body weight version, but get yourself a freaking bar, because again,
that's where the games are.
Walk in, you have your lat pull down machine that costs thousands of dollars. Let's compare for soccer. How much is this going to relate? Maybe for celebrating, you have those lats like Ronaldo. Right. Get good at your chin-ups. Get good at your chin-ups. But how much sense does it make to be good at that and not good at the shit that you actually need? Exactly. And the best players, their tibialis are popping out. Like they could be like tibialis models. Right. And the worst of us, we have shit tib. We're all starting somewhere.
Sure.
We're only replicating what the genetic freaks have naturally, And if you look at an athlete like Ronaldo or like a Russell Westbrook in basketball, and you look at how aggressively he plays, I wasn't putting that kind of force into my leg. So he was handling that force for years and years. So those muscles, they're there. Now, even for him, if he maybe encountered an injury and now didn't realize that he was now losing some. So even if you are the best naturally, by at least knowing what these areas are, then if you encounter an injury or if you want to keep playing longer, it just puts you more in control.
And that's also a thing, which is I wanted to go to, because obviously, like I said, I saw you with the bulletproofing knee.
What's up, people? Tomorrow, we've got a crazy Black Friday sale on Goluremi Nation, our members-only monthly subscription, where you get access to more value in the football world than anywhere on the internet. And that, my friends, is straight facts. That's access to our exclusive programs on the 5 football pillars. That's skill training, speed and strength, diet, nutrition, how to go pro, and of course, the Beast Mode Mindset Program. We've got exclusive interviews with players in the top 5 leagues, access to our network of agents and scouts, huge discounts on Goluremi.com, free giveaways every month, your questions answered by Team Goluremi, and tons more. Come next year, this will go back to $99 a month, but tomorrow we are giving it away for $1. And if you don't have $1 to invest in your football future, your future happiness, then you have to ask the question on where your priorities really lie. We're gonna put in the work for you. Now join Goluremi Nation and put the work in for yourself.